All right. I am back. This is the second time. Hopefully, everything is good. So, let me just clear my heart and my mind, get this space ready. Thank you. Okay. Thank you and welcome to Wednesday night. Hello, hello. Welcome to Wednesday night, Love and Relationship Insight. Everything is fine. It was just really a user error. I forgot to make sure the correct microphone was chosen before I went live. So sorry for that brief interruption. So tonight's topic is, what if closure is something you give yourself? Very interesting. Why I chose this topic is because I do get a lot of calls um, for clarity, of course, love and relationship, sometimes business, clarity, insight, and intentions. And one thing that I do notice a lot of times when I get the calls about clarity is because the person is feeling like there wasn't any closure in this relationship for the way how it ended, whether it ended on a good note or it ended in hellfire, and you're waiting on the other person to give you some type of peace of mind, which is already in you. So, before we move into the cards tonight, I want to sit with something that I think many people struggle with, especially after relationship ends. And again, is, what if closure is something that you give yourself? And this is something that we all need, no matter what the closure is. So I think most of us are taught to think of closure as an event, a conversation, maybe a final text, an apology, an explanation, some moment where everything suddenly makes sense. That's not true. Okay, because in the midst of transitioning, of moving forward, a lot of times we don't feel like we are moving forward. A lot of times we feel like we took a step backwards. Or the biggest thing that I hear a lot is, did I just waste my time? Did I just waste 10 years? Did I just waste 5 years? Did I just waste 15 years? No, you did not waste anything. If you really sit and look at it, you actually gain so much insight to this person, this persona of your spirit man that you see. You have learned different ways on how to express love. You have learned different levels of joy. You have learned what makes you even confused and upset, what makes you tick. And you have learned actually how to soothe yourself in these instances. And because we believe that, we often place our healing in someone else's hands. And what is that? Why? Why would you place your healing in somebody else's hands? These are yours. These are your feelings. These are your emotions. You have total control over it. And it's time that you start acting like and knowing that and performing that you have control over these feelings, that you have control over emotions. So, talk about, I want to talk about maybe the phone call that, if the breakup happened over a phone call. And I'm even going to stretch it because sometimes, again, this is not all the time a love relationship. This is family, I'm even talking about. You having a conversation with your sister and you have a falling out. And because you are sisters, sometimes you are used to saying um, rude things to each other. But it's that one phone call where you called her a name, she called you a name, and click, that's it. And now you have created this distance. You're not talking to each other. And it's always because I believe that she owes me an apology. And on the other hand, she's has the information that, well, you owe her an apology. Instead of everybody just coming together and saying, you know what, I can accept that that's the way how you felt at the time. Can we move on? No one ever is willing to take the stance. And, okay, that's a little stretch. I won't say no one is ever. I'll say more times than necessary, we are very reluctant to be the ones to make amends with someone else. And sometimes it's very warranted that they hurt you so deep by what was done or said that you cannot make a phone call to get the closure that you or the apology, because that's really all closure is wanting an apology, to get the apology that you think you deserve. What happens when you find that within yourself? What happens when you don't think to look at the other person or look for the other person to fill this spot, right? So once you get that, you'll be okay. So I sometimes think people spend years in what I call the emotional waiting room. They're not fully in the relationship anymore, but you're not fully free from it either. So this is checking social media. I call it I call it social media spying or energy spying. A lot of times I really call it energy spying. They call me, how does this person feel about me now that we have broken up and we haven't seen each other in 5 months? And I cut them off of social media. I blocked him from my accounts. And I have to pull my ego self out of it and say, okay, intuition, check in here, because this is what you call energy spying. You want to be done with the relationship, but yet you want to peek at their pages, see what they're posting about, see if they added anybody else in a picture. And then you in your head is saying, well, I'm going to block them from all of my social media, thinking that that's a punishment. And more times out of 10, if you're over it, why are you trying to punish someone else? And what makes this even difficult is that the relationship may have ended months ago, but you're still holding on to this emotional attachment to understanding that it actually hasn't. One thing I noticed about the heartbreak is that many people are not only grieving the loss of the person, they're grieving the loss of the story they thought they were living. Sit with that for a minute. As women, we do have these fairy tales that we actually have told ourselves since we were young, since maybe we were playing with the dolls, if you played with dolls, or had your little friend pack. And when I say young, I really do mean young. I'm talking about in between the ages of 5 and 8. Okay, within those 3 years is when most of our psyche on how the future is going to pan out. That's the very nurturing part. That is the beginning where it all started. Whether we were watching cartoons or watching our parents or grandparents, I know for me, because I came from a broken home, my fairy tale relationship was actually my aunt and uncle. To me, they had the best thing. They had the best time. My aunt always made me laugh. My uncle was very tall and handsome. And I idolized for a long time. I idolized their relationship until I got older and realized that's not quite what I wanted, but I have the choice to redo this fantasy of mine of my perfect marriage. And then what happens when what you deemed as the perfect marriage, because everything went according to plan. Remember, you made these plans years ago when you were between 5 and 8. This is very true. You made these plans on what your fairy tale marriage would be, if that was your course, if that was what you desired in a relationship. So once that gets shattered, that's when you start blaming yourself. What is it that I didn't do? Why wasn't I enough? Is it something I said? Is it the way that I dress? Is it the way that I kept house? We start blaming us. And at that time, that whole big cloud of blame is sitting on us, that's where I'm kicking in this thing now. I want to wake you up. I want to help you acknowledge your value, your awesome mentality, your great womanhood or manhood. If you are a male watching this and listening, this applies to you too. You have all the power to close any gap. You don't have to wait on someone else to tell you that you were enough. You don't have to wait on anyone else to tell you that you are lovable. When you start this way, you can end this way. And it's not saying that you will hate the person that you broke up with. It's not about hate. This is about being able to live with yourself, to move and understand what unconditional love is, because it starts with you. Okay. Sometimes we have offended someone that may have caused a heartbreak, and sometimes we didn't. Sometimes it's really just the simple thing of, this is what people tell me, because I don't believe that you can grow out of love with anyone. This is just my personal belief. You don't have to walk with it. If that's not you, then that's not you, and that's okay. But what I come to understand with dealing with a lot of relationships on a daily basis, what I am seeing is, it's not the fact that we grow out of love with someone. It's actually that we still holding on to the idea of who they was and not allowing the growth to happen. You're not being receptive of the new metamorphosis that they are becoming. And understand, I'm talking about a healthy relationship. I'm not talking about one that has a bunch of toxic chemicals involved to where the person that you're breaking up with don't even know themselves. I'm talking about healthy relationships, healthy mentalities, and then you feel that you're no longer compatible. It's not that you are no longer compatible, it's that just that you two have not given each other room to grow and morph and allow yourself to embrace the new change in the person. The only thing that's changing is what they do and how they think, but their love has not changed, and it can't change, because love is unconditional. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love is not jealous, boastful, proud, or rude. Love does not, you know, love does not point fingers and accuse. Love endures to the very, very end. So when we stop putting up these walls on what the other person should or shouldn't do, then we have room for ourselves to step in and love on ourselves and nurture our own feelings and come back to the person that you are. Okay. Why they leave, but underneath this question is, why wasn't I enough? What did I miss? What could I have done differently? And a lot of times it's nothing. Nothing. You didn't do anything. You didn't miss anything. You didn't have to do anything differently. It's just the fact that you did not embrace their change and they did not embrace your change, and all of that changing communication was lost. So closure isn't always agreement. when this is where things changed for me. I realized closure doesn't require agreement. It doesn't require understanding, and it doesn't require the other person to suddenly become self-aware. All right? Wouldn't that be nice though if the other person automatically became self-aware? I think self-awareness can come if you understand what mirror work is. Okay. Um, and by all means, if you're listening and you want to put something in the chat, go ahead. I will address any question. Uh, But we are definitely on learning how to not wait on someone else to give us closure. So sometimes closure is accepting. I may never understand why they did what they did, and I can still move forward. And I want that to land with you. Sometimes you may never understand what they did, why they did it, and you can still move forward. And acceptance is everything. Acceptance is, you know, I am a divorcee. I'm in my second marriage. And I do remember, I don't travel back often, but this is one thing that I can share because I was one that had a super hard time accepting. When I tell you the story of in the questions of why am I not enough? Why is there something that I miss? If there's something that's done, I'm really talking about me. That was a state that I was in. And I think that is interesting that I guide and I counsel so many on the same thing that I have gone through and how I have pulled through it. And it had to do a lot with accepting, you know what? Okay, I did not accept their change, but at the same time, things that what he did to me, I didn't feel was deserving. And I know I didn't deserve it. But somewhere in his mind, he did those things without thinking of the consequences. And later on, I had to learn to accept that because no matter how much I wanted and could have and should have communicated to him after the divorce, honestly, it wasn't worth it to me. I had found such inner peace with me accepting that this was not my destiny. With him was not the real plan. I have a choice to go back to the drawing board and redesign my happy ever after. And boy, oh boy, is that such another topic. In fact, I'm going to write that down because that's just a quick video. I'm not going to do it alive. It's just going to be a quick video on redesigning your happy ever after. Gave me, and that has a change in my clothes just 'cause I'm doing. So I accepted that it didn't work out. I accepted that it's time to move on. I accepted and found peace with me, which gave me peace moving forward towards him because I still had to be in contact with him because we had two kids. So, and that's another thing is it doesn't make sense tearing down the other person when, for one, you spent years with them. Two, you may share children because no matter how bad you talk about them, you have to realize that the dirt that you're dishing on them really comes back to you because you're the one that slept with them. So I'm just saying that's my story. So that's just my laughter on it. So therefore, I don't drag his name through the mud, even though I have every reason to. But no, honestly, I've accepted. I've accepted and I moved on. I redesigned my second marriage, and you know what? I love the universe. I love understanding my throat chakra, that my words are power in itself, and they will go out and perform the work that I send them to do, and they shall never come back to me void. So hold on to that and remember that. So now let's talk about real quick reclaiming your energy. When we wait for someone else to give us closure, we accidentally hand them our power. Okay? You don't want to give anybody your power because it's yours. So when if you notice that you're hurting, if you notice that you feel undervalued, if you notice that you're grieving, if you notice that you feel lust for something that's not yours, and I'm not just talking about a person, I'm talking about things. If you lusting for somebody else's car, their jewelry or something, all these feelings are yours, and you have every control over them. You can turn up the knob and vibrate their frequency really, really high, and you can bring it back down low so to where it doesn't bother you. Okay. So let's decide this together. When we decide, we may never receive the conversation that you wanted because you decided to give somebody else that power. And when you give somebody else that power, you may never receive the apology that you felt that you deserve. And you may never receive the explanation that you hope for and choose peace anyway. So let's flip that. Let's clear all of that out and say, you know what? I don't need the apology because I'm good. You are not the one that makes me good. I am the one that makes me good. I don't need your kind of love because your kind of love kind of hurts. What I need is the kind of love that I give myself. What I need is the kind of love that I give myself when I can look myself in the mirror and be totally more than fine with what I see, with what I sound like, with all the aura about me. looking at Look in the mirror. I'm going to challenge you. Look in the mirror and start just naming the things that you're happy about yourself. You're satisfied. This is you, and you are perfect. I know a lot of people say, well, nobody's perfect. Well, guess what? Nobody's perfect in their eyes, but they don't control you. You're perfect because you say that you're perfect, and you don't need anybody else's validation to be perfect. How's that? Let that sit with you. Let that land, because what they think doesn't matter. It's what you think. Now, if you take that perfectionism and you spread it all over town and you try to explain yourself to people, well, that's when you're going to get all the pushback. But this is a knowing for yourself. There is nothing outside. That's right. There is nothing outside. These are your feelings, these are your emotions, this is the things, this is your perception. Um this is your taste buds, this is your heart beating, this is your blood flowing, this is your spirit. Sweetheart, this is your world. You have all the power. So use it, harness it, nurture it. Uh, what else? What's another word that I can use? Because to me, it's like my intuition. Yes, I know that I have it, but it's not until I started trusting it. It's not until I started practicing moving on inspired action That's when I learned my control. Our whole energy begins returning to us when we realize our power. We start sleeping better, we think about them less, we laugh again, we create new dreams. And here's the unexpected truth. I think one of the biggest surprises in healing is realizing that closure isn't the end of the story, it's the beginning of a new one. Because when you have closure, yeah, it's the beginning of your new story. I want you to really reflect when you have closed a chapter on one part of your life. Have you noticed how other things just start to pop off, like things just start to fall in alignment? So, if you stop waiting for another person to give you closure, what would become possible in your life? Because when you wait on someone else to give you closure on anything, I need you to understand that almost everything around you goes on pause. So in order for you to unlock the chains that you think that you are bound in, ah, let me find the card. This is the perfect card to show you. Where are you, devil? There it is. Let's do the devil and let's do the eight of swords. All right. Okay. You see those chains around their necks? This is the devil card. That is, for one, that is when you wait for someone else to give you closure. But I want you to, hopefully, I know it's a little blurred, but hopefully you can see the chain around the neck. You see how loose it is? It's not even in a chokehold. It's just there. It's just there, placed over their head and resting on their shoulders. Sweetheart, when you get closure within yourself, that chain comes right off and you walk away. You're not bound to anything. When you wait on closure, and this might be the cards that I pulled today, unless someone has a question, you can put it in the chat. But when you wait on someone else to give you closure, this is you. This is the Eight of Swords. Your blindfold is on. You see that r- right here? You see the cloth wrapped around her? It's so darn loose. You could shake yourself loose from that if you wanted to. It's just a feeling. Okay. No one has you in a headlock. No one really has you tied down. This is all you. You can take the blindfold off. You can release yourself from the shackle. You can walk away with acceptance. Simple acceptance. So I'll ask you again, if you stop waiting for another person to give you closure, what would become possible in your life? How many things did you have on hold that you did not realize? All right. So this could be a great conversation. So let me see. Now, yes, you may ask something and it reminds you of old you. That's awesome. I am in general good, but sad because my friend died. Oh, sweetheart, my condolences. But before 2 days, I dreamt my ex spouse and I last week few times. Can you please? Psychic for answers and what they told what me. They last week a few times. Can you please check? Sure. All right. So okay. So let's talk about this energy real quick. Um the dream is happening more than likely because For one, you had to thought about him first, right? And then he popped up in a dream. So the frequency has been turned up, okay? And those waves has gone out left, right, front and back and everywhere. And he has picked up on it, okay? Because we're all connected. We're all connected. So the same time that you thought about him, he's actually thinking about you, okay? Let me pull a card here because that always helps. And let me just get a little bit more clarity on your question. Okay, yeah, it's a nice dream because um, you're on the same wavelength. Okay, it's like turning on a radio. You turn on to 98.2 and it's soft rock music, but if you turn to 101.7, it's all jazz music. So you have to turn the dial to the station in order to get the ideal music. You, the two of you had the same dial and you turned on, he turned his dial on to you, you turned the dial on to him, and the clash, and there it is. And there he is um, popping into the screen. So I couldn't have pulled this card better myself, which all I did was shuffle, and it's the star card. So there's not really too much for me to explain because I really just did it without even pulling a card. So, yes, equal frequency. Star card, yes, at night. She's naked. That does not mean that this was a provocative dream at all. She is the lady of the night, and she is actually what's happening. You see the two vessels. Um, both being poured. One is being poured into back into the body of water, and the other is being poured, creating a stream of events. So what I get from this card is expect a phone call, okay? Just a general phone call. Hey, how you doing? Just calling to see what's going on. I don't see that anything that he's in trouble or anything, and neither are you. But and now also because of the grieving that you are going through with your friend, that also helps that particular vibration to get turned on because in your body, let me just call it your child self, your subconscious level, the same grieving ignited feelings from your friend is the same grieving that went on uh, for your ex spouse. So even though it's two different types of love, it's that was triggered. So let me do a little bit of house cleaning before off. And because there was no sound on Monday, yes, I do think that he will call you. Um, because there was no sound on Mondays, I really already deleted that video, and on. I will make up Monday, yes and no, tomorrow and I know it's late for you, Nella. So if I pull, I don't know if I pull cards, depends on if anybody comes on, but I will still edit the video so that the conversation piece is still up there. So I will do yes or no in the conversation question over again tomorrow night. Later on tonight at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I will do the live that I was going to do yesterday with the one card tarot and with a wonderful conversation piece on that too. All right. So if there is nothing else, oh, last bit of house cleaning. I know that I put it at the beginning of the chat. But if you desire a one on one with me, I do intuitive tarot and energy readings, some with the cards, without sound bowls. I can use and depending on what your question is and what type of one-on-one session you want, you can go to my website at www.tenmustardseeds.com. Find your way over there to private sessions and book a time with me there, or you can go to the Calendly link that I put at the beginning of the chat, which is calendly.com/10mustardseeds. And you can book a session with me there, get on my calendar. I will be more than happy to have you. And until then, I will say good night. And that is it. Oh, I see your last question. Saying when we broke up, you are good in this. Oh, thank you, sweetheart. Thank you very much. Honestly, I pull from my own experience. And a lot of these topics that I come up with, I told you I am on popular psychic hotlines. What am I on? I am on Ask the Answer, uh, Purple Ocean and Purple Garden. They're the same app. One is computer based and the other is an app on a phone. I am on Cassamba and Keen. So when I come up with these topics is because these are things that I am dealing with on a daily basis, but a lot of it is me, of my life, pulling out of my journals. I am an avid journaler. I journal a lot, and I am in a process of writing several books, just narrowing things down. But yes, I decided to come on and just change the whole trajectory because I know that I can pour into somebody. And so I'm showing up, and this is my way to give back. And you can link it. Where do you want me to link it, sweetheart? And what are you asking me to link? And if you're asking for me to link the hotlines that I'm on, I'll be more than happy to. I can do that right now. But I will tell you, if you are not already part of those links, of course, I'll be happy to see you on those links. That is really not a big deal. But it will, dollar wise, it will cost you less. Honestly, it will. I'm on the other screen getting ready to pull up those links for you. It will cost you less just booking time with me. So here we go on Purple Ocean. I'm just going to pull this all up for you. Copy. Here's Cassamba. That's Cassamba. And let's get copy. There is Purple Garden. Oh, there's no way for private. I know on the calendar I have Monday, Wednesday, and Friday open, and some Saturdays. And yes, I see your questions. Let me just get the keen up for you real quick. There's keen. And the last one that you need on the site is Ask the Answer. So All right. So yeah, those are all the links that I'm on a hotline. But again, like I said, on the hotlines, I am going to let you know it's not me that cuts you off because you have to pay. You have to, prepay for a certain amount of minutes. If you just go ahead and go directly with me on my website, you can control whether you want 20-minute session with me. I have 20-minute, 30, 45, up to an hour sessions. And again, not all the time is it fully tarot. This is a full guidance. This is a full shadow work. This is deep work that we will do. We will do energy healing. If definitely energy healing, um, depending on what area of life I'm working on with you, what I'll help you determine whether we need to go into EFT tapping, because that is so beneficial and so it's actually really even therapeutic. Um, if if even need be to where anxiety is super high, I may even take some of the time that we have and just do 5 minutes with I'll just start playing my sound bowls and I can give you a sound bath, via Zoom call. Trust me, it's still very beneficial there also. So we have a plethora of things and avenues that we can go through. Okay, so nope, I am not just a tarot card reader. Remember, the tarot cards are just mirrors. They help give me insight into the things that are going on with you, depending on what your question is, and they help the both of us dive deeper. All right. So, yes, I do have a full package. Yeah. And again, this is what I needed to move through to get through. And I am really so happy that I landed in this space after going down a spiritual rabbit hole, so to speak. But I am finally at the right place where I thought real estate was my home. No, mindset mentoring is, and I absolutely love it. Okay, so let me see. I think you had another question before while I was pinging all these links. How to handle what trigger? Because I know it's late for you, so I'm not going to keep you up too long. Yeah, and yeah, you asked for advice on how to handle this trigger. Are you talking about, okay, this, oh, so the death triggered me on my ex, how to handle this? Absolutely. It triggered that in you because you suppressed it. Yeah. You suppressed it. You try to ignore it, instead of sitting with it and letting it be there. So when I say sit with it and let it be there, I mean actually eh, just sit still, actually quiet, focus in on it, know where is, feel where it is appearing in your body. Like you already said, it's a hole in your heart. Do you actually feel it in your chest? Or is it coming? Is it a pain in your neck sometimes? It could be a spasm that you get that runs through here in the nerve sometimes. Is it your stomach having flutters? But wherever you feel that, in fact, real quickly, I'm going to take you through a session right now. I want you to close your eyes. Okay. Take a good deep breath in, hold it for 4, and let it release. And when you let it release, I want you to just empty out your lungs the best way possible. Okay. Now I want you to constrict all of your muscles. I want you to take a deep breath and I want you to try to squeeze your arms, squeeze your hands, just squeeze your stomach, squeeze everything, curl up your toes, clench your butt, squeeze your thighs, just squeeze, hold it and let it go. With that, you should actually feel the adrenaline flowing. And as you feel yourself loosening up, start rotating your shoulders, rotate your neck. Take another deep breath to allow the flow. And now, how do you feel? Does the hole in your heart still feel heavy? And if it does, just let it be there for another couple of seconds. And just breathe, just pay attention to your breath. Because now you should be able to actually feel your heartbeat. It should be a little stronger. It should be almost like you can hear your heartbeat in your eardrum. And just say, relax, release, reveal. Take a deep breath and say it again. Relax, release, reveal. And just be with it for a minute. With your eyes closed, I want you to visualize yourself and scan your body from head to toe. Start with the crown of your head, down your eyes, your cheeks, your chin, your neck, your shoulder, your arms, your hands, your chest, your abdomen, your pelvis, your thighs, your knees, your calves, your ankle, your feet. You should have a tingling sensation in your feet right now. You could go ahead and just wiggle your toes. With your eyes still closed, I want you to visualize, and it's okay if you can't see it, but just know that it's there. Just visualize an orb, maybe the size of a softball, a glowing white light that is packed with love and peace. Take this orb and place it on the top of your head, and with your thumbs, open it up just like you cracked an egg. And this white, shining, glittery, bright light now covers your body. It's in your hair. It's moving down your head, on your shoulders, down your arms, around your midsection, down your legs, and under your feet. Bask in that light. Enjoy the light. Feel the light. Now you're going to take a deep breath. And with this deep breath, you're inhaling all of the light. Hold it for 8 seconds and let the light permeate your insides. And exhale. Now come back to me. Open up your eyes when you're ready. And now peace that passes all understanding is now not just over you, but is within you. Awesome, 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 awesome. Never forget your power. Never forget that you have full control. And I love guided meditations. It doesn't have to take 12 hours. It doesn't have to take all day. You don't have to walk around like a zombie. All it really takes is for you to just to stop sometimes, take a couple of deep breaths, and resonate with the frequency that your body is already moving in. And that frequency is that heartbeat. It's so unexplained by science. So that's your proof that you are the miracle. All right, I am going to close this session. And I thank you so, so much for sharing this space with me. I thank you for listening. I thank you for being here, being awake. Wherever you're at, whatever time that you find this video, if you're catching a replay, it is meant for you. And I pray and hope that you got all that you needed out of it. Remember, I will return at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But until then, tomorrow, we have our next soul session. It's Thursday night. So we'll get into it. All right. You're so welcome, love. Have a good night and a peaceful rest. Bye-bye.